Hello everyone, and welcome back to Project Ozone Reloaded Titan Mode. This is episode 23. And I am in my nether mine, as you may can tell, with a farm that I have set up here in the nether, because the nether is the only place where I have a nice expanse of bedrock available to me at this point. And I'm growing capacitor seeds. Now, I've gotten all these seeds up to 10, 10, 10. They say they're not analyzed, but they are 10, 10, 10. And I'm using a tesseract to send power. These require power to these capacitors that they're planted on, and I've got my dark iron bars around, and bright lights, powered light inverted here is what I'm using, and it's working. They're growing. Now, these can be challenging to set up. Let me point out 3 resources that you may find useful in getting these going. One of them is if we go into inventory and you go here to the guide and you hit tips, and I think it's probably under recipes. Yes. And you scroll all the way to the bottom. It says, if having problems with capacitor seeds, they pretty much need to be grown like this. And there's a big setup here that shows how they've got them set up. And they've got their lights down on the ground, and the capacitors are sort of, there are really only 2 plants there. And here's a creative energy cell that's powering the whole thing. It looks like the capacitor bank may pass underneath here or something. I don't know. It's a little hard to tell. That's one resource for information. I actually think there's a better book if we go and look up capacitor seeds. And if we look these up, it says these need power to grow. Plant them on a capacitor bank. They have to be grounded, surround them with dark iron bars, and anchor those to bedrock. They need very bright artificial light, and they don't like sunlight at all. There's no danger of sunlight here. I'm in the nether. And continuing on, it has a picture that shows, it looks like 2 plants set up with a cross crops between them, and you can see how they've got the capacitor in there and how they've got the dark iron bars. This was apparently not done in the nether, but there are some lights overhead. It's these same lights again. So this is the other sort of arrangement here. This one's on an irregular bedrock surface, and it gives more information. Details: must be planted on a capacitor bank. Bedrock must be below the capacitor bank. Must be surrounded by at least 6 dark iron bars. No sunlight. Light level must be at least 13, which is going to be fairly hard to achieve, especially since block above must be air. Then capacitor bank must supply, and I'm not sure if this is 100.000 or 100,000 RF per growth tick. I don't really think they're sucking up 100,000 RF per growth tick. They might be. Because it's coming through a tesseract, it's all instantly charging. All the power in this system is a little bit overblown, so in this mod pack anyway, so it's a little hard to tell. That said, they do grow here. The question is, why would you want to expend the effort to grow these things? Just an FYI here, I don't normally use the agricraft irrigation because I find it very laggy because of all the particles. But because this is in the nether and I don't spend time in the nether, that's okay. I don't have to look at it, so the visual lag that all these particles cause doesn't cause an issue. Okay, so I ran it for a while and with this auto farm arrangement, and here's what I got. I got 3 basic capacitors, 2 double layer capacitors, 1 octatic capacitor, and all of these organic capacitor shells, and organic capacitor gel, and organic capacitor cores. So, based on this, my conclusion is that these are not worthwhile to grow specifically for obtaining capacitors. You're going to spend more time setting this up than it's going to take to make several stacks of capacitors just using the QED and go on that way. And eventually you will reach the point where if you look closely at these capacitors, They all have EMC, so once you get far enough in Project E, you'll be able to make capacitors that way. And that is automatable, so you won't have to deal with all of this. That said, if you want to use any of the features of add-ons for Ender IO, and I wish those ghasts would shut up. If you want to use any of the features for that for farming, you do need these other components, the organic capacitor shells and the organic capacitor gel. Let's look at the capacitor shells here, and you'll see that they are used to craft a capacitor lined housing plate. And if you look at that, that is used to craft a farming base module from Ender IO add-ons. And if you look at that, that's used to make a whole bunch of these different components for farming in Ender IO add-ons. I might do this at some point. I'm not going to right now. I might at some point. Let me mention the third resource, who is someone who does cover this quite a bit. There is a guy here on YouTube called Wilx. He has his own channel that's doing this series. He's very technically oriented, and it works. He's does his homework and his research, and everything eventually works. And he does this sort of setup, and he's using this to go and get all of his crops up to 10-10-10, because the Ender IO add-ons farm can be used to improve crops automatically, so you don't have to sit there with the watering can like I've been doing and go and improve your crops manually. There is an achievement for getting all the harvest craft crops and all of the magical crops up to 10-10-10. It's in the simple achievement book, so it's worth spending the time to do that. It's just a question of if you want to go through the additional steps to automate that. I haven't decided yet. Now, part of what's going on here is I am running an experiment. I don't think it's going to pan out, but we'll see. I'm running an experiment, and it's based on the comment on this. This part was grown by a plant. It's nearly full-grown, a full-grown capacitor, nearly but not quite. This suggests that maybe if you harvested the plant too soon, you would get some capacitors that weren't ripe or something of that nature. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's the mechanic of how this agricraft actually works. I think if the crop is mature, it's as mature as it's going to get. But I am going to go ahead and test the hypothesis, and the way I'm doing that is I have changed my farm here. The harvester from Minefactory Reloaded can be turned on and off with a redstone signal. Okay, so I have a toggle latch here from Project Red integration hooked up to a timer, and what this is doing is this is basically going and flipping a switch every 5 minutes to turn this harvester on or off. Pretty simple. So it runs for 5 minutes, then it's turned off for 5 minutes, then it runs for 5 minutes. This slows down the harvesting process because it gives everything time to completely grow up and just sit there for a while before it gets harvested. And when I get a comparable number to that of items in here, I will take and analyze, well, were capacitors a higher proportion of the total doing it this way? And I'll report back when I have results. At the moment, it's not looking promising. I've got all this and I have no capacitors at all. So it's not looking promising, and I don't really expect it to work that way. But I'm running the experiment and I'm going to find out. Let's head back to the overworld and see what's going on there. Okay, I'm on the bottom level of my base right now, and here next to the mob spawner where we set up the slaughterhouse last episode. And it looks like we've got about 287 buckets of meat and 40 buckets of pink slime, which is more than enough to get some pink slime. So let me get a bucket of it here, and I'll just drop some of it down here. And while we're waiting on that, I'll just get another bucket over here. It'll probably spawn immediately, but... Okay, so I've managed to get 2 buckets placed. Let's get a third one. Eventually I'll get a slime here. There we go. Okay, So let's kill this thing. It's so cute. Okay, there's 2 down. A lot of visual distortion with this sword due to the acceleration buff that it has. But it looks like I have over a stack of pink slime now. I also got a couple of slime pearls, so I may make pink slime balls instead of regular slime balls going forward. We'll see. When I have to set up a spawner, I've got to put some kind of slime in it. There we go. Alright, so a stack and a half, a little bit better than a stack and a half actually, of pink slime, just from 3 buckets of that. That isn't normal, that's because of the high looting enchantment on this sword, but that certainly saves some time. So let's go back up and do a little quest that involves that. So let's see what we got here. It is in Zeta. Pink slime. We need to make 1 pink slime crystal. And that is made by smelting a pink slime block, which in turn, yeah, I didn't need that, is made from 9 pink slime balls. So let me just go, and this actually does work as a storage block, by the way. It can be reversed. So let me pull that out, and unfortunately, for some reason this mod pack does that. There's something in here that causes it to behave a little different when you spread items out. And let's see if I can get, there we go, finally. So I got 11 of these crystals, or 11 of the blocks now. Let me just take and toss them over here in a redstone furnace. There we go. We got 11 times as many crystals as we need to complete the quest. So we'll claim the reward on that. It always puts the useless chance cube on my bar and the bag in my inventory. Fuel efficiency upgrade. Alright. So next on that particular quest line, and I've been really wanting to get this one going, is the pre-charger, the laser drill pre-charger. We gotta have 4 of these, and each one of them involves one of these pink slime crystals. It also involves a light, and I don't know if I made the standard version of that light or not. Let's see. No, I just made the powered light. So let's see what's on the light. The powered version is much brighter, that's why I used it. Let's see. The light just uses glowstone, iron, and glass. That is a pretty logical arrangement for a light, although using a whole block of glowstone seems a bit much. And iron, then glass. So I'm going to need 4 of these. Okay. Yes. So put that there. And did the light go in the middle? I'm terrible at remembering the locations of all of these things. Diamond. And then everything wants plastic on top. We're going to have to tell this to craft some more plastic. Let's just tell it to craft 100. There we go. And then either hardened glass or fused quartz and double layer capacitors. So double layer capacitors I do have several of. I've been making them in the QED, not growing them from plants. And quartz. Do I have enough? Probably. Alright, so I need to make 4 of these. There we go. And we will pick a reward bag. And I got an incendiary grenade. I'll probably set my AE system on fire now. Okay, the other item, I think it's going to be the next quest. Let's take a look. Yes, the laser drill. Drill into the void for free ores. Can obtain specific types of ores using a laser drill lens of a specific color. I'm not going to mess with the lens when I first set this up, but I probably will eventually. One of the things that I've sort of been having a little... It's sort of funny in a way. We're on episode 23 here, and I still have not been able in the beta chapter to grow gold seeds because I've never seen a piece of gold ore. It's pretty amazing that I've gotten that far without gold ore. Now I've got plenty of gold, but I just don't have vanilla gold ore, which is what you need to plant under this to grow it. Okay, we're going to fix that. That's going to get fixed with this particular quest. So now we just need to do the laser drill itself. The laser drill itself requires 2 of the lights, a fused quartz, a couple of diamonds, 2 octadic capacitors, plastic sheets. I probably won't remember all that, but we'll see. So, diamond, this one had diamonds in both of those spots on the bottom, and it had the light, and I guess I'm going to have to make some more of those because I didn't actually set them up as a crafting recipe, did I? It was glowstone and iron. I'm still not setting them up as a crafting recipe, but maybe I will later. And glass. Alright, bringing this back over here, toss those up there. Now it needed octadic capacitors and a piece of hardened glass on the bottom. And I'm a little short on these because you've got to go through so many steps in the QED to get to octadic. It takes a while. Okay, so laser drill, they're also among the ones that are most in demand. So we've got all of that now. Now I'm also going to want, in order to set this up, I'm going to want, I guess I'm going to go with, yeah, I'll use 2 tesseracts, but I'll have to do something a little different with one of them. Conduits, I'll get some of these, and let's craft a bunch of these. There we go. I'm going to want a chest to serve as a buffer for it. And I think that will be it for now. I may have to revisit this a little more, but let's go up and I'll show you where I'm going to set this up. Basically, I'm building a new moon. So if we look over where, there's the ether moon, and way over there is the nether moon. This is going to be the moon for the Erebus, but it's sort of in a partially completed state here. I've got all the ghost blocks showing so you can see where it's going to be. It's the same size as the shell for the ether moon, which is just a little bit bigger than the nether one. Let me turn this off. So far, we've really just got this little platform up here where the center of it is going to be. And down here, I've built in the floor. I am going to dual purpose this moon. It is going to be for the Erebus, and it will look like it's all for the Erebus and everything. Right now I don't have any materials from the Erebus to sort of make it decorative like the others in terms of using those materials, so I haven't really done that yet. But I did also want to build the bottom part of it, because in the bottom half of this, which is otherwise going to be mostly unused, I'm just going to go ahead and build a room to hold the laser drill. And the reason I'm building it way out here instead of in my base is that this needs to be up high in order to be maximally efficient. I'm at Y level 153, which is more than sufficient. I think if you're at around 132, that's all you really need. But there's no harm in going a little bit higher, and so that is what I am going to do. I'm just going to put this down so I'll have something to prop something against. I'll put the laser drill right there. So it's over a hole, and if we were to go under here, while it's still maybe safe, you can see we've got a laser beam shining all the way down. Going into this will definitely set you on fire if it's powered. I don't know if will do it right now or not. I don't need to know. I'm not going to find out. So we need to set up laser drills, and they face in the other direction. Good to know. So we need to set them up pointing into here, and you can see that they've got these sort of lasers shining in here. This is where the lenses would go in the laser drill if I had any. I don't. And the prechargers, of course, have work. Now what happens is the power is supplied to the prechargers, and from there the prechargers periodically transfer the power into the laser drill, and once it accumulates a certain amount of power, it produces a piece of ore and it ejects it out the top. So let me just take and put a chest up here on the top like that to hold the ore. Then what I'm going to do is I need to send this ore back to the base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plop down on top of it a conduit, and on top of that I'll plop down a tesseract. So it will just extract from the chest and send into the tesseract. Now the laser drill prechargers, of course, need power. And since I've got a tesseract here, that's a good place to get power from. So I'm just going to be a little bit, maybe not ideally efficient with all of my conduits, but it's nice and symmetrical looking, so this is how I'll do it. I'll just take and hook these all up to power from different faces of the tesseract. Just like so. So the tesseract is going to need to be configured. Let's call this ore processing. This is not the ore processing, this is the ore mining, but we are going to send and receive power from the ore processing section of the base, because that is where we're also going to be sending items. So set this one to 2, and I will hit the checkbox there. This one can send items. It's not going to do anything with fluids, and it's going to be able to receive power. And it's set to ore processing. So I have not actually set up a section in the base to receive all this, but I do want to test it. So what I'm going to do just temporarily is I'm going to go back to the base, stick a big chest next to the tesseract, and hook up power to it and configure it to run. And then I will take and probably turn it off for a while until between episodes I get some ore processing built. So let's go back to the base, wherever it is, way down there. And we'll hook this up. And I think the best place to hook it up right now is probably just going to be down here where there's power available on the power platform right here next to this big engine. So let me go ahead and put the tesseract here. And I didn't bring a chest, did I? I've got this little bitty one. I don't want to use the little bitty one. I want to use a bigger chest than that. Well, I have to fly up there. And I do not fly like a bird. Chest. Gold is about the biggest one I've got on hand in my... and that's fine. Okay, so we have power going into here. It's actually coming from the big diesel generator here. Let's set this one to... we're going to be receiving items, and we're going to be sending power, and we're going to put it on channel ore processing. So, nothing has happened yet, but it is active, and let's see if anything is going on up on the moon. I'll see you there. Okay, up here we can see that these laser drill prechargers have a full charge on them, 96,000 RF, and on the laser drill itself we can see that work is going up and away, and then the work disappears. The energy is just sort of sitting there at 20,000. I suppose that it's just doing one work unit right away, and it's not actually able to exploit any more energy than is being pumped into it. So it's working as fast as it can, in other words. Let's go back down and see if I've accumulated any ores. Okay, back down here, let's look in the chest. We've got ore, including gold ore. Also, it looks like we're getting both nether ores and regular overworld ores. This one says Galacticraft Core. I don't know if it... I think it probably would spawn in the overworld if we were doing it. I got Peridot. I need that for lasers. So I'm actually doing pretty good on these ores. I'll have to shut it down in a little bit, but I'll let it accumulate some ores first. Hopefully I'll get a little more gold and a little more Peridot. And I'll have to set up some real ore processing at this point, as opposed to the ex-Nihilo stuff. This is actually not going to be shared with the ex-Nihilo stuff. I'm going to set up a different ore processing, probably on this platform down below. And the reason I'm going to do that is because you're very limited on how the ex-Nihilo ores can be processed. Really, what I've got here with just a pulverizer, a furnace, and then a sag mill to do the extras is very close to all you can do with it. I mean, you can do a little more with the extras if you were to set up a Tinker's Construct smeltery. Some of them can be doubled. You would still need some sort of basic furnacing in order to handle a couple of them. I think maybe zinc is one that you've got to handle that way, and this mod pack anyway. Having said that, these are relatively simple to process. The nether ores are more complex to actually fully automate it. And so I'm going to have to actually spend some time building a lot more. I may also go ahead and set up the Magneticraft ore processing machines, because I believe that those will allow me the opportunity to do a little more, get a better result from the ore. They normally let you do ore tripling with Magneticraft. Eventually we'll be able to do ore quintupling using Mechanism, but that's going to be quite a ways away still, I think. Let's go and finish this quest. It does give a full heart and a reward bag. The reward bag is legendary this time. I guess either they were all legendary or I picked a good one. Let's see if I got something great. Bleeding stone. I did not get something great. Okay. I guess that is probably going to wrap up this episode. I got done something that I really needed to get done, and that is good. So I'll have to be thinking about what I'm going to take care of next episode. If you found the information in this episode useful, then by all means, please like, subscribe, comment, or share it. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I will see you next episode.